It's very common when equality legislation is being introduced that people worry that the floodgates will open and they'll be overwhelmed with cases. But that's very unlikely to happen in reality. For example, we can look at Ireland. Like Guernsey, it's an island and it's a relatively small jurisdiction in international terms. We have less than 5 million people, so the population is about half the size of London. And our equality law is well established at this stage. We've had the current legislation for about 20 years. If we look at our most recent figures, we can see that in 2018 there were just under 600 equality complaints relating to goods and services. That's for all the different protected grounds: race, gender, sexual orientation and so on. I know that some concerns have been raised about potential disability claims in particular, so it's worth noting that only 90 complaints cited disability in 2018. In a population of nearly 5 million people, that's actually incredibly low. And then if we look at the employment equality complaints, we can see that in 2018 there were less than 1,500 complaints under all the different protected grounds. Of those, less than 300 complaints referenced disability. When you consider that there are about 2.5 million people in the Irish labour market, less than 300 disability employment complaints in a particular year is again extremely low. And then of course you also have to consider that not all of those complaints are upheld or will even go to a hearing. The most recent figures we have on this in Ireland are for 2014. Of all the equality cases concluded in that year, less than a quarter went to adjudication. That includes both employment equality cases and cases relating to goods and services on all the different protected grounds. Of the remaining equality cases that were concluded that year, about 15% reached a mediation agreement and 62% were discontinued for various reasons. Why are there so few discrimination cases? It's certainly not because we don't have discrimination. One of the main problems is that taking a discrimination case can be incredibly stressful. People can also be very reluctant to rock the boat, particularly in relation to employment or education. So for most people, taking a case is really a last resort, something that they do when everything else has failed. For this reason, I think it's really significant that Guernsey is putting so much emphasis in its proposals on informal resolution. I think this will help to solve problems early on and help to keep the stress and the costs at a minimum for everyone.